In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a chart that suggests the cryptocurrency bull market is only just beginning. Alongside this, we'll be diving into the short-term price action in immense detail, going over the key levels you need to be watching, how to prepare for the next move, and even the weekly candle close. Let's go ahead and dive in. Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day today. In today's video, we're going to be discussing Bitcoin from a macro and a short-term perspective, going over the current levels you need to be paying attention to on the short term, the next expected moves, how the macro price action is tracking along, and very, very importantly, we are going to be discussing how altcoins have historically performed in prior bull runs in comparison to Bitcoin and what we expect for altcoins moving forward based on the structural levels we are seeing on Bitcoin's price action. So before we do get into it, smash that like button, hit that comment button, and subscribe to the channel. We post daily videos for Bitcoin focusing on the facts, the data, the technical, and the structural information. No hype, no BS, no emotion, pure raw TA. If that is the kind of content you're interested in, join us over on Telegram. This will be the third link down below. You'll get access to charts, updates, videos, educational posts, news events, and everything you need to stay in the loop of cryptocurrency with Bitcoin and the relevant economic news. If you are interested in taking your trading to the next level, you can join us on VIP. We post trading setups with exact entries, exact targets, exact stop losses, trade justification, exclusive analysis, and so much more. You'll also get access to group chats, our general chat, our trading chart and education chat, our help, our daily video, our trade setup, and our news chat. If you're interested in getting access to all of that, go ahead and contact us in the pinned comment of the free channel. For more information, you can click these links. Let's go ahead, guys, and dive in. So a very quick summary again of what we're going to be covering. We're going to be taking a look specifically at the altcoin total market cap in comparison to the Bitcoin price action, looking at the key structural levels, and then inferring possible targets and directional moves based on the structural levels for Bitcoin to the altcoin market cap. We're going to be taking a look at similarities in past cycles and in the current cycle. We're going to be going over that short-term price action, discussing it from a technical and a structural perspective, discussing the key levels of resistance and support, and finishing up on that macro price action, moving into the weekly candle close, and of course, the high time frame 4-year cycle. So let's go ahead and dive in, starting on the market data. 24-hour volume is down 50% of gain. We are moving into a weekend. It is very, very normal for volume to drop down in the weekend. So 127 billion total. 24-hour liquidation sitting at 125 million total, down 60% again. We have seen a massive reduction in volatility in the price action. Bitcoin has more or less just been moving in about a $300 range. So not really all that much price action happening here in the last 24 hours, and with that, we have seen reductions in overall liquidations. Now, even though Bitcoin is moving only in, looking at a less than 1% range, a couple $100, the liquidations are still relatively high. We're still sitting at 125 million, 65 million short, long, 59 million short. It does tell us that people are still massively over leveraged even at these prices, taking massive leveraged positions, looking for directional continuations in these chop zones. So again, a lot of liquidity building up within these ranges, which tells us a large move is going to be coming soon. Moving over to the broad markets, the DXY has dropped below that level of support as anticipated. Again, a loss of this local low of support, which is this green level, would result in a continuation downwards to almost 101 to 101.5 range. Again, this is going to be our yearly low. We're looking for a continuation toward that level for now. Again, if we do want to continue upwards, we need to break above this downtrending diagonal trend line, which is reflective of our current downtrend. We do have some key economic events coming up. This is going to be on the March 12th, so in 2 days' time. We do have CPI data. This is going to be, again, pretty important in a few days' time from there. So on the 14th, we do have our PPI and retail sale data. So again, this could potentially impact the DXY, be something to watch moving into the new week. Moving over to the S&P 500. A very strong weekly candle close above that 5,100 level, hitting that $5,200 target, expecting a continuation 5,500, 5,400 psychological levels. Again, more or less as we enter this price discovery, it is safer to assume the price will continue upwards while we remain above our key levels of support. So provided we hold our current uptrend, provided we hold our basis of support, the price discovery, it is very hard to say exactly where we are going to go. So it's better to look for higher targets, look for these psychological whole numbers, okay? And adjust your risk by moving your stop losses up as the price continues in your overall direction. If we do lose this 5,000 level, that is going to be the bearish case scenario. A drop below 5,000 could result in a correction down to our prior high. Again, that scenario is very, very unlikely while we're holding above that 5,000 and 5,100 level. As of right now, it is looking relatively strong. Moving over to the Dow Jones, not as strong as a weekly close as we saw on the S&P, but it is still holding above that 39k level. Again, while we remain above that 39k, more importantly the 38k level, we are expecting an eventual move to 40,000. We're still watching that level as a target. The same goes for the Dow Jones here. A break below our prior support will result in a retest of the prior all-time high. Until we break below that level, we are at a very strong uptrend, and we are expecting continuations higher. Enough about that, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin, as we have so much to talk about today, and today's a very interesting video. So before we do, a quick word from Bitget and BingX, and we'll dive on in. I wanted to briefly interrupt today's video to discuss the two exchanges we use on this channel, Bitget and BingX. So which exchange should you sign up to? If you look to the right hand side of the screen, you're going to see the list of differences in relation to KYC requirements and the countries these exchanges offer services to. The first link down below being the Bitget link, and the second link down below being the BingX link. No matter which link you sign up to, you're going to get up to 15% discounts on your trading fees, up to $5,000 in trading rewards, and of course, you'll get access to every single MegaWhale exclusive bonus campaign we run on these exchanges. Alongside that, Bitget and BingX are incredibly similar. They are both ranked top 10 in terms of trading volume. They both have extensive liquidity pools and market pairs offering up to 125x leverage. And most importantly, they both offer protection funds for their users to protect you against any third-party hacks. So get started now and support the channel by clicking the links below. Thanks for listening. Okay team, let's go ahead and get stuck right into it. So to start off today's video, let's jump over to this chart. And this is a very interesting chart, not a chart we talk about too much, but this is essentially the altcoin gains in comparison to Bitcoin's price action over the course of what we would call our 4-year cycle. And we have seen historically how Bitcoin almost leads the way, or it does lead the way in our prior cycles, and it is showing again just how it leads the way in this current cycle. So what we're doing, we're taking a look at prior data, and then we're looking at the current data, and then we're going to assume if we had to follow what we have seen in the past, how would the price action unfold? So let's take a look at this. If we look at the prior cycle, this is a 2021 cycle, we saw that Bitcoin broke above that major point of resistance. This is going to be that solid and dotted trend line, okay? This is going to be that respective 48k level, okay? We broke above that level, we continued past the all-time high, and we made this massive, massive continuation past the all-time high before we had that first rejection. Only after we saw that first rejection did altcoins really start to move. So we draw a vertical line over here. That vertical line corresponds with this point on the altcoin price action chart over here. You can see, although Bitcoin continued well past its prior all-time high, altcoins hadn't even moved past their first high, which is going to be that dead cat bounce high. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the current price action. If we zoom over to the current price action, we can see the exact same scenario that was playing out in the past is appearing to play out again. Let's just move over to the altcoin price action really first. We have got very important levels we need to define. We have got our all-time high, okay? This is going to be, wrong button. This is going to be up over here. Okay, our prior all-time over here. And most importantly, we have got the dead cat bounce level, which we're going to go ahead and draw a horizontal ray on, which you can see. This is going to be our horizontal ray. We'll change that one to red and make it nice and bold. This is going to be an incredibly important level on the altcoin price chart, which we'll discuss in 1 second. So we've got two important levels. Number one, the all-time high. Number two, the dead cat bounce high. Now, what we have seen in the past, guys, is when altcoins, okay, break through that dead cat bounce high level, that is when we see this parabolic rally in the altcoin market cap past the prior all-time high. Now, what is very interesting is that the moment of which we see, okay, Bitcoin retest the prior all-time high, okay, the moment of which we see Bitcoin retest the prior all-time high is exactly the same moment, okay? We see consolidation underneath this dead cat bounce high. So if we look at where Bitcoin is currently, okay, which is again retesting that prior all-time high, exactly retesting the all-time high, and look at where altcoins is, it is underneath this black, or should I say this red horizontal trend line. We are literally in the exact same position we have seen before in the prior cycle, which puts us in this cluster of consolidation right over here. And what we have noticed is that after Bitcoin breaks through that all-time high and continues upwards, it is only after Bitcoin sees that first major correction, which is over here, do we see altcoins break through that red trend line and then continue upwards aggressively for the rest of the cycle. So what am I really trying to show you here? I'm trying to show you that altcoins, although a lot of altcoins are up massively, if we follow what we have seen in the past, which is Bitcoin breaks an all-time high, Bitcoin continues upwards for one major leg up, it has its first correction, and then after that first correction, we start to see altcoins break this dead cat bounce high, and when altcoins break that dead cat bounce high, we see altcoins take dominance in the market and see these massive insanity levels of gains. What I'm trying to show you is that we haven't even seen that yet for altcoins. So altcoins have a long way to go before we even get to that stage, but everything that we have seen in the past that has led up to these parabolic phases in the altcoin market is happening again. The dominoes are falling into place exactly like we have seen in the past, which should be fantastic news for everyone. So keep your eyes on that. Let's go over to Bitcoin's short-term price action. So Bitcoin, like we said in the last 24 hours, hasn't done really all that much. We've been very much just tracking sideways. And as we look at the volatility, as we look at the liquidations, it is very much evident that we haven't really seen all that much price action. If you watched our prior video, we told you guys the key level we needed to get above was really sitting up over here at that 68,700 level, which is going to that daily candle close high, okay? We go over to the daily chart really quickly. That is going to be that daily high of the prior all-time high, that the daily closing price, okay? The highest daily closing price ever reached. You can see Bitcoin has breached that level on the current daily chart. We actually created a brand new daily high, which immediately resulted in a large correction down to 50, and we have now reclaimed that level, pushing back up. So this level is still going to be a major area of resistance, and most importantly, a key trigger point where if we are able to break above, we are going to see that strong continuation upwards, which is currently still expected, okay? So this is our key level of resistance. On the downside, if we go all the way down on this chart over here, the key level of support we are really watching out for is going to be that $60,000 level of support. If we delete this really quickly, this is going to be our key level of support, our $60,000 level of support between these two horizontal trend lines. So this is support, this is resistance. For a macro continuation, we need to break through resistance. For the trend to flip bearish on the higher time frame, we would need to break below that 60K support. So zooming into the smaller time frame, guys, if we take a look at the current price action, we can see we've been creating, okay, these slightly higher lows as the price action has been in this overall uptrend. What we are looking at is this momentum trend line. Again, the RSI trend line is going to be a horizontal trend line taken from our prior lows, specifically this range over here. We've drawn it vertically, and as we can see, as the RSI is more or less pushing sideways, the price action pushing upwards. Again, while we do remain above this horizontal line in the RSI, we would expect the price action to continue upwards. If we were to see the RSI break down from this trend line, that would be the first warning sign, in my opinion, for a potential correction. Where could corrections go? We're looking at the 65,700 to 65,300 area if we were to break down from this trend line. Why would we look at that? Well, if we look at the first low, that first low corresponds with that level, so then we are looking for a retracement back down to that level if the RSI breaks below this potential low. For weakness to develop on the chart, we would need to see that $65,000, that lower high area, okay, delete. We would need to see, or should I say this higher low area, my bad, we would need to see the price action drop below this level. A breakdown below that level could send the price action back down to POC. However, that is incredibly unlikely. If we look at the RSI again, we do have another trend line that is very important, which is going to be our downtrending diagonal trend line. This is reflected by this trend line over here. We're taking the local peaks, so we're taking our peak number 1. We do not take peak number 2 because peak number 2 is going to be our lower high, which is our bearish divergence. We take peak number 1 to again our peak over here on the price action. This is going to be our RSI trend line. Again, a potential bearish divergence developing over here. If we do see that RSI break upwards, this is going to indicate within the cluster of price action we have over here, the momentum, again, which is decreasing, will have flipped positive, meaning the developing price action will again regain enough strength to continue through that resistance. At the moment, we do have a potential bearish divergence developing as the momentum is falling. This is expressive of exhaustion. However, exhaustion is not weakness while the price action remains in an uptrend. Exhaustion could potentially indicate development into weakness and thus a downtrend if the price action does not absorb. But what we are seeing here is, although we have decreasing momentum, okay, we are still seeing, again, these higher lows print, okay, we are seeing higher lows on the RSI, although very slight. We are seeing the buyers are still stepping in and still pushing the price action upwards. So we'll see that RSI flip over. That is going to be a positive momentum flip, and we would expect the price action to continue through its resistance and continue potentially to 70,000, 71,000, and even 72,000 as targets. Like we said, those are the two scenarios. So go over it really quickly one more time. A break above the RSI trend line will result in a continuation through the 68k resistance, potentially to 70, 71, 72. If we're looking for corrections, we need to wait to see how the RSI respects this horizontal trend line. We'll be looking for a correction to retest its prior lows at 65.7 if we do break down on that RSI trend line, and only if we lose that 65.7 level would I be concerned for a steeper correction. If we zoom out again on the daily and take a look at the broader picture, if we look at the broader levels of support and resistance, our key level of support is going to be sitting at 60,000. Our key level of resistance is the resistance we are currently retesting. A break of that resistance sends Bitcoin up on the macro scale. A break of 60k sends Bitcoin down on the macro scale for a potential retest of 57,000. Overall, the direction, the strength is there. We just need to see that absorption develop a little bit more for the price action to continue upwards. Let's move over to that daily chart. So Bitcoin is about to close a weekly candle. We have 24 hours remaining until that weekly candle closes. We'll discuss this in tomorrow's video a little bit more. Again, if we do close a weekly candle above the price point of 65,500, now 65,500, look where 65,500 is. Let's just delete everything. 65,500 is going to be that local low range we discussed just then, okay? That local low range. So if Bitcoin is able to remain above this level, okay, for the next 24 hours, we'll be closing the highest weekly candle close we've ever seen for Bitcoin's price action. Again, for us to retest this level, we would need to see that RSI break down. That has not happened yet, and if it has not happened yet, it is not expected, okay? The probabilities for that downward move only become greater than the probabilities for the upward move if we break down on that RSI, okay? Everything is a game of probability. So we are definitely watching for our weekly, and we are expecting the weekly candle close to be bullish, which is the highest weekly candle close ever, as the price action is showing overall strength. Moving over to the macro charts really quickly, guys, we do have one more thing to discuss, and that is going to be potential top dates for Bitcoin. And we've discussed this a few times already, but I want to go over it again. And I'm really honing in now on a potential top for Bitcoin to be around that March, April area 2025. If we take the date range trend from the point at which we break the dotted trend line to the all-time high on both instances, we have a total date range of 13 to 14 months. Applying that to the prior monthly candle, that takes us to March, April 2025. I would be expecting this to be the latest top for Bitcoin, meaning I would expect a top to occur, but just at March to April 2025 or potentially before March to April 2025. I don't see the Bitcoin price action topping after this point. Looking at the RSI trend line, we are definitely not yet in that parabolic growth phase according to our momentum on the monthly chart. Again, for us to enter this parabolic phase of growth for both Bitcoin and altcoins from what we have seen in the past, we need to get above that 80 point on the RSI. What we have seen in the past is every single time we break above that 80 point on RSI, that is when we really enter that explosive FOMO hype all over the media, all your mates talking about crypto, your grandmother asking how to buy Bitcoin, all that kind of crap happens when we break over the 80 on RSI, because that is when the momentum starts to pick up. So let's take a look at that historically. We break the 80 over here, we saw a massive increase in price action to all-time high. We broke the 80 over here when we broke above the prior all-time high, huge increase to the all-time high. We broke the 80 over here, again, that was the same point at which we broke above the prior all-time high, huge increase. So in this instance, we are breaking above the prior all-time high without even breaking above the 80 point. So that tells us potentially two things, and it depends on your perspective. Perspective one, it will be incredibly bullish as we are breaking above the all-time high without even having a massive surge in momentum yet, which tells us the demand for the asset is massively increased in comparison to the prior cycles. This will be the logical perception as we do have more avenues of money flowing in, such as the ETF avenue and institutions this time around in this cycle. So it's more normal that we would see more demand. If we see more demand, we generally do see this consequence on the price action, which is accelerated growth of the asset. And the other way you could look at it would be the bearish scenario. Again, I don't think this is a very good scenario, but it would be the fact that we have not seen the RSI break through this trigger point, indicating that this could be deviation from the trend, as we do not have the adequate momentum like we have seen in the past to break above the prior all-time high, which could indicate a potential correction is coming for Bitcoin. Will that correction be catastrophic? No, it will be a healthy correction, but a correction nevertheless. So these are two very important things to be watching out for. And again, regardless of what does occur, the price action is looking very strong. So thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, leave them down below. Check out the Crypto Academy courses. We do have a bull market sale on at the moment, so you get a nice little discount on our course over here. Information in the links down below. I'll catch you with that in the next videos. Cheers.